Sugar is not the enemy. It is us choosing the quantity. So we have to take self-responsibility and embrace the sugarcane plant as food that we cannot abuse. It is here in this world as our equal. So use it in moderation. Release the emotions and reactions, realizing the body has to be free because it is an organism that we can embrace in unison. Welcome, everyone. We are having a hangout, and this hangout is about our 17 to 21 day 17 to 21 of our 21-day sugar investigation. And with us is our guest, Leon Perry. Leon?
Hello.
Hi, Leon. Day 17. Day 17 is when I decided I want to make nori without rice. So I was looking at, okay, nori without rice. I've made nori with different kinds of fillings. There's raw, there's vegetarian, vegan nori. There's nori with fish, eel, nori rolls with eel, shrimp, crab meat, and stuff like that. So I'm looking at the carbohydrate content here in the day 17. So I was faced with this decision to make to put a different kind of rice. So I'm looking at right now. I mean, I'm looking at this memory right now and here, and knowing me, I would make maybe quinoa as the rice. So why would I do that? So I can see that I fear rice, eating too much rice because of the rumored high carbohydrate content. You see, in the media, you can hear different kinds of information being passed to you. And one says it is high in carbohydrates, and one says no, it's gluten free. So it's good for you. And looking at it, I can see that we're not really looking at the portion of it, but rather we just judge it just like that, because sugar cannot sue you in court. I mean, carbohydrates cannot sue you in court, but as a human, we have to really look at why should we judge food stuff when in fact we are the ones taking it. So we can either reduce the portion without judgment, or use some other food item like quinoa or any other rice, and maybe put on more of, well, I would make carrot. Sometimes I make grated carrots and put a little bit of nut meat there. when I do raw nori rolls, and just play with it and put the veggies in, put the rice in, and meat if you need one. You see, but I wouldn't just judge it just like that because of the golden rule, we are responsible for whatever we do unto others. So I would consider that we look at food items that are not moving as if we are allowed to actually abuse them. Whether allowed or not is not the point. The point is that we are humans and we coexist with them in this world. And they are, in fact, giving us nutrition. They have nutrition information and we can regulate the portion. So I advise we just regulate the portion and enjoy. All right. Um, so rice. The R, release, and the I, release the I, and C, E. All right. Anyway, I have two questions that I looked at. Does the body try to, to push the mind away, to get out of this suffocating experience, as it cannot breathe properly when we use up the energy that the body needs when we are thinking, reacting, imagining, etc., and using the energy that it needs? Let's ask ourselves that. Number two, does the body fight back through attacking the mind, treating it like a virus? So we have war going on inside ourselves. I mean, and then we are like swallowing pills and we are like looking for the best food, and we judge the other food as bad while inside it's causing all this stress. So have a look at that, because there are many things out there that can make you confused. Let's make it simple, commonsensical, and let's see what Leon says. What's your day 17 like, Leon?
So on day 17, basically, it was all about fiber. Now, I bought a pack of Fiber One chocolate peanut butter meal bars that day, and in my day 17, basically, I experienced myself during and after digesting the particular Fiber One peanut butter meal bar. I experienced a sense of relief, I kind of inflated the value of the Fiber One meal bar because of its fiber content. And because see, fiber, the benefit of fiber basically is that according to doctors, it helps slow the absorption of rate of sugar. Now, fiber in itself is the sugar, that it helps to slow the absorption rate of sugar because fiber doesn't go into the bloodstream um, as fast as sugar. So because of that, I basically um, with the fiber one meal bar, I inflated the value of it, and I blamed other types of food items that I eat as the culprit. You know,
You gotta blame something. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
And you
and
did. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and so basically, it's a point where rather than blame, I can look at my relationship to blame. Uh, you know, get to understand my relationship to it. So instead of blaming, I can approach uh, particular food items in a different way, in a way that um, I don't have to blame it, but rather see it as something that provides some type of sustenance. Um, and even if it doesn't, like say for instance, sugar doesn't provide any kind of sustenance whatsoever, it still doesn't. Um, it still doesn't mean that you should go and blame the sugar because it doesn't provide sustenance. That's not what it means. It simply means that I'm not going to eat it. Um, and even if I do eat it, I can eat it in small amounts. So basically, it's not about blaming. It's just about whether I'm going to eat it or not going to eat it. But that was my day 17.
thank you, Leon. Um, Fiverr, thank you for that. Day 18th for me is when I was face to face with my fear of two substances that I saw in the yogurt when we went to the Tutti Frutti yogurt store. It's a yogurt shop here in the US, and I saw that they have a sugar-free yogurt, and it consists of dextrin and dextrose as sweetener. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't know that you're using these sweeteners in yogurt. So that initial reaction of wait, hang on a minute. I don't know what's going on here. That initial reaction made me look at what dextrin is. Dextrin is any of various polysaccharides obtained by hydrolysis of starch, a tasteless and odorless gummy substance that is used as a thickening agent and an adhesive in dietary supplements. That is, and I thought, hey, but they are here in this world, so better just embrace it as part of life. So I added into it. It says adhesives in dietary supplements that is part of the whole that is life. Hey, you know. So release that judgment to make your life, to enjoy life, to because when you're resisting something, it persists. So embrace it. Because you can only change something if you embrace it as you. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's commonsensical to me. It's even more difficult to actually um, resist something. So then I looked at dextrose. Dextrose is an isomer of glucose that is formed in honey and sweet fruits. So let's say an isomer of glucose is found in honey and sweet fruits that we judge as bad, but in fact, it is a part of life, so let's embrace it too. And eat the tutti frutti yogurt in moderation. Because if we push it away, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna, whatever we resist persists. So it's gonna persist. So we will layer it within us and stuff like that. Now, let's ask Leon. Leon, what's your day 18th like? Leon?
Yes, my day 18 was actually a continuation of day 17. I um, had an experience after eating the Fiber One bar. Um, I experienced bloating and gas, and I realized that. Well, I actually did some research on the ingredients, and I found something called chicory root, and which is known for uh, bloating and gas. So I went from uh, inflating the value of this Fiber One to it being something that I won't eat again because of its chicory ingredient. So it just goes to show how food becomes something that is judged rather than something that is looked at as something that provides sustenance for your body. So, I mean, food is here to support us, to help us grow physically as individuals, and to judge it. I mean, I think it's just something that has to be at least considered. The point of why we judge food when food is here to support us. And I mean, I understand that man-made food is not really here to support us primarily, but to support the monetary system. So that is within that an opportunity to really understand nutrition, understand what kind of sustenance can you get from foods, and I mean, learn how to cook at least, and in that way you have more control over what goes in your body. So really, I mean, the man-made food out there, it's primarily because it's the evolution of money, business, and stuff like that. But that can be an awakening for us that we're able to um, redefine food in a way that food being there to provide us with nutrition and sustenance becomes the primary purpose of food once again. And that was my day 18.
Thank you, Leon. Day 19th for me is when um, someone was getting food and I raced to get it too. Don't you do that? In our country, it's like it's a social thing. Eating is a social activity. It's a family activity. It's a friends activity. Friendly activity. It is being used to bond with our family, friends, and we just lost the meaning of food because we were using it like that. So I would suggest what I learned from this is that it, it's not about good or bad saying that is bad. No, it is saying that let's correct our definition of food. If food is here to give us nutrition, which is the definition of food, so the body can survive, let's look at other uses of it, like um, to bond with other people in our lives. Well, I would question that because you can really bond with people in your lives without eating food or using food in a way that you're not leaving the meaning of food itself. And then because you're not leaving that meaning of food, you get lost in it. Um, then the mind kicks in because when you're bonding with your friends, you gossip. We did that, and we laugh at people's mistakes. Meaning, we thought it was okay. We thought it was just a simple, funny incident, you know, and we would laugh at people's mistakes while getting together. Do you know what happened um, to our cousin? He did this and he did that. No, isn't that stupid? You know, how many of you, how many of us are doing this during events? I mean, I'm not saying I'm like the clean one. No, I'm saying I did it, and I'm sorry that I did it. And I realized that food is has a food has a function in this world. Let's use it as that, and let's bond with it, with the food through being here while eating it, taste it, texture, its smell. But we cannot do that as much if we are gossiping about our family and friends, and you know, or we also used it, meaning food, sometimes to boast about our prowess in the kitchen, how we can make some nice dishes. We forgot that food is for nutrition, so we did not use it as that. The consequence outflow later on will be that you get sick because you overeat because you're not using it according to what it is here for. So, eating, eat, and looking at the phonetics of it, energy allowed to tread where the body's nourishment is compromised. That's the 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 thing that I'm doing when I'm gossiping while I'm eating, or when I use it to kind of copy what my friend or my family members are when they're eating, I would eat. I would rush and eat, even if you know, even if I'm not that hungry, because it's just fun. So food then becomes an object of fun rather than what it is as a form of nourishment for the body. So the body eventually is the one suffering. So it's being trapped within this all these different things that we do, because what happens is if we're using our mind and trying to react to different people and different food items, then that reactions in the mind result in the mind taking some nutrition from the physical nutrition that the body needs and transforming it to mind energy, because we have neural networks. I mean that fire and create electricity in our brain. I mean, that's physical. That you see, the body is constantly functioning in so many different ways, and these little things that we can do, if we can do it, let's do it. So yeah, so eating is E, engage, A, all, T, together, engage all together, engage all the different food items together, ingest it so that it can be digested, then it can be distributed to the different parts of the body through the blood. Um, so let's do it. Leon, what is your day 19 like? Are you on day 19?
Yes, yes, day 19. Basically, day 19. So far, talking about basically, how I blame certain food items for being the reason for my experience in bloating and bowel movement indications, gas, and stuff like that, because of certain ingredients within that particular food item. Uh, but whether the particular food item actually contributes to physical reactions, the point here is that I realized how blame basically is used within the starting point of wanting to have pleasurable experience to food that I eat, instead of looking at food and creating a relationship with food from the starting point of seeing, realizing and understanding how that particular food item can contribute to my overall physical health. So basically, day 19 was just really looking at that, focusing more on that relationship with food, basically, how a particular food item can contribute to my overall physical health.
Thank you, Leon. Day 20. I was face to face with my fear of artificial sweeteners. As you can see, I've been looking at the different yogurts and their sweeteners. Is it, should I use stevia? Should I eat the yogurt with sucralose or maltitol, all these sugar alcohols, or should I rather use unrefined cane sugar, which is available anyway? Is unrefined cane sugar better than that? So My mind is busy figuring this out, but there is this fear that's fueling it, fear of artificial sweeteners. Um, of course, these are information that I heard from the media, and there is conflicting information regarding which sweetener you should use, um, and which one is bad for your health, quote unquote. And it's just being sold, and this consumerism is just driving all this information left to right. One is saying this pro, and the other one will say the another will have another opinion of it. This information driving the individual to confusion, and then they buy because of that fear that's being impulsed, and the desire being impulsed in the media through advertising. So now I know that when I have this kind of resistance to eat artificial sweeteners, I have to consider the impact of what the media is doing with regards to giving information that is confusing to actually sell. See, selling is information based. You see, this is the consequence of selling from the point of manipulating information to actually make you buy something. You see, and you're resisting that because you know what salesman does. You've been victimized. You've been, you know, and I'm guilty because I was a saleswoman before. Um, and I was in real estate in the Philippines, and we were taught in the trainings anyway. So education is part of this, because sales, when you're learning sales, you're being educated. So how would you correct sales education? I learned that we can really correct it. And this is just information being passed from one person to another person. And if we are our own best teacher, we can learn from others, cross reference from them, but do not make it a point where we are losing our own creative um, expression, because we're being fed too much information, or so much information is coming from outside that we immediately look for this information outside rather than just first look at it with common sense and then test it out ourselves. That creative expression, when you look at something, is missing in schools today. And you can call it whatever you call it, but I don't buy it, because when I was young, I can see it. I can see, but I don't know how to word it. What is going on? This is not something I'd like to do, because I can see I'm parroting someone else's information. And even if you, for example, make me feel okay about myself, give me some toys, give me some different ways of doing things. If you're not giving me any information about who I am first, I mean, how can I play with so many information and gaining so many certificates? I don't even know who I am. I mean, this should be a part of the education curriculum, you see. And then now, if we say that, what are you talking about? Yeah, you forgot because it's been, I mean, education is something else other than what it is. So let's correct that. Let's correct that. In one of my hangouts, health hangouts, I'll talk about health and education. If you want to come in, participate, please do. But someone has to say something about that. Okay, Leon. So, what is your one thing that I learned here is that I believe that artificial sweeteners can make me sick. So there's also fear of sickness there and fear of suffering when you're sick. So, and but it's just commonsensical corrections here. Like if you assess the whole thing and you look at the whole artificial sweetener thing and you decide not to have it, just don't have it without judgment, without these fears. And if you decide to eat it according to the amount that is not going to compromise your body's health. Leon?
Okay, this is day, which day is
20.
20. All right, so day 20 basically, I talked about the Fiber One chocolate peanut butter meal bar. There was also another meal bar called the South Beach Diet Fudgy Chocolate Mint flavored candy bar, and I compare the two basically. So in day 20, basically I redefined the word comparison from a definition of me judging a particular food item based on what it has in it, and then seeing that food item is better compared to another food item that doesn't have the same ingredient or ingredients, to redefine it as using the word comparison as a way of examining and noting similarities or differences that each particular food item has with the other food item as a way of formulating a solution, basically, that can be practically lived as a correction in relation to the food that I eat. So basically, when I look at comparison, I can compare soda to apples, you know. So say, for instance, they both have the same sugar content. According to knowledge and information, you can take it or leave it. But according to knowledge and information, apples have more fiber. Which means if apple has the same sweetness content as soda, which one would I pick? Well, based on practical comparison, I would pick apple in this case because of the fiber content within the apple. And so, because of the fiber content, it won't stress the liver out as much because of fiber taking a longer time to digest, you know. And if I just drink soda, it's going to go straight to the liver, for instance. This is just an example. You can do some research online, but this is what I've researched for myself. So that is a practical redefinition of comparison, comparing apples to sodas in this case. And then from that, that becomes a solution to making a decision between apples and sodas. That was my day 20.
Julian, apples and soda. That is cool. All right. You are comparing. Leon, you're comparing the two?
Yes. It was basically a comparison that was a point of redefining comparison
And
in
what
that
is your
situation.
definition?
My redefinition was basically uh, like redefine like comparing apples with sodas. Which one, according to the knowledge and information out there, um, apples have more fiber than soda, and so um, I would, in this case, choose the apple, for instance, because of the fiber content. If they both have the same levels of sweetness, I would choose, like for instance, the apple because it has more fiber content. Therefore, it will take longer to digest, and it will be less stress on the liver. And all this is coming from knowledge and information, basically, in relation to what I've researched. Um, but that doesn't mean that I don't have that I'm not going to drink soda. It just means that if I'm faced with a decision on one day of what I want to intake, will it be soda or apples? I'm going to choose apples for that day. And if I really want some soda, you know, here's another practical approach. Being that apples have theoretically more fiber in it. Um, if I want soda, for instance, if they have the same sugar content, apples and sodas, if I really want soda, I can drink half of a can instead of the whole can, half of a serving. You know, so it's all based on really commonsensical decisions. Uh, which can support us in making and coming up with a practical solution in a particular moment when it comes to making a decision on what food item or what item will I digest or drink in a particular moment.
Hmm. Very interesting. I would, if I put my shoes into your shoes, I would look at also the amount because I can eat um, a little bit, let's say 1/2 teaspoon of soda.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Instead of drinking the whole soda can, I can drink a half a soda can, which would be a half a serving, for instance.
Yeah. In my when I was looking at the um, diabetic monitor, um, it takes very little amount of soda to actually raise my blood sugar. So I would look at just tasting a little bit, like 1/2 teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of soda, but not say soda is bad because then it's a general statement. Because really, uh, when you take just a little bit of it, or sometimes other people use sort of to um, depending on how your body reacts to it. Some people use it to digest food. If you have money and you can have other choices, yeah, you can use other stuff other than soda. But in very poor countries like in our country, I mean, they don't even have a choice. So this is also a minor point. Um, in our country, a soda is cheaper than an apple, and poor people cannot even afford to buy an apple. So I would say that we should also look at how we are going to change our environment, our social system, so that then we can have um, enough means or enough money to buy food that our body needs so that we can choose. Because the poor people don't have the choice. In the Philippines, they eat rice and salt. And if you tell them rice is bad, what are you going to feed these people? Here, it's like, oh, it's lots of carbohydrates. In our country, that doesn't exist. But only the elite can do that because really, they don't have a choice. They only eat rice. If they have a lot of rice, they eat 3 times. But sometimes they eat only once, just rice and salt, because that's the cheapest. And if there's 5 of them in the family, so I would investigate physical health with mental health, because our reactions to it and our fear of disease and death is behind all this. And also, not having health care in the Philippines would be another underlying fear within fear of disease, because we don't have health care. We don't have health care for the poor. We don't buy health care. For some reason, we survive in the town where I grew up. I'm surprised in America, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. You see, in our country, I grew up not knowing of healthcare. Um, my mom has got um, an uncle who is a doctor, but that's a general practitioner, and we don't call him for anything. We just eat rice with a little bit of fish and veggies. Sometimes we have more money, so we eat rice, veggies, and meat. And what I found out in my diabetic monitor, when I was I'm not diabetic, but when I was testing my blood sugar levels, it is it is my own reaction to it, because to food and everything in my life, that is also causing this blood sugar up and down, you see. And of course, we have to consider also that the the machines that we use to measure our blood sugar is not like the best that we can have. We have to really develop it some more. And hey, so it's physical, mental in a way where we have to release our reactions, our fears, so that then we know that whatever we're reading is actually what we are looking at, because we are looking at the blood sugar level and we're just looking at what food we ate, not even taking into consideration the effect of the mind in the whole reading. We have a problem, you see. We are bound to general conclusions that are erroneous. So let's straighten that up. Um, are you ready for day 21, Leon?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready for that. And you want me to start my day 21?
Yeah, and then I
Okay.
will end off with my day
Okay.
20.
Well, day 21 basically. So I told you basically how I realized my life. Um, well, I told you um, in one of the days where I basically realized my fear of diabetes is stemming from my dad because he has diabetes, which contributes to me having a resistance for foods high in carbohydrate content. So, a lot of this 21 day investigation was investigating food items that have either low carb content or high fiber content that I can um, intake so that I do not have that fear of eating food because of the fear of getting diabetes. So basically, uh, this fear was never really a prominent point in my life until it was triggered by the video that I watched. And what I interpreted from the video uh, was that eating too much sugar can contribute to a higher risk of diabetes. Um, so um, basically, it really means that the fear was already programmed in me. In other words, I programmed it within myself. It was coming out or triggered based on that video. But the reason I say it was already in me is because some part of me did not take responsibility for the food that I eat. So with me not taking responsibility for fear, that was actually a blueprint of that fear that was triggered. And so those might be 21.
Hmm. Very, very important point is whatever we inherited, what diseases we inherited from our parents can be a source of fear too. So uh, that tells us that our genes were copied from our ancestors, you know, and whatever is there, mind imprints, we have also copied. Well, just my perspective of it. I mean, looking at um, the existing developments or discoveries in this field. I mean, we don't know everything yet. Can you believe we have we think we evolved so much, yet we are still in the investigation stage. Up till now, we haven't quite understood uh, because we are seeking always information outside of ourselves. We don't have even time to really look at, even bond with the food through taste, texture. We layer it with so many flavors. We don't know the taste of beef or pork without any spice. I mean, does that tell you anything? When we say pork, we mean is what do you call that? Whatever dish in our country, let's say adobo, pork adobo. We're seeing the pork adobo. We're not seeing the pork. So on day 21st, I'm faced with fear of genetic mutation. This can be part of what I saw in day 20, which is artificial sweeteners, the fear of artificial sweeteners, and having read again, this is from the internet, and this is what information can do. Um, impulse us to react to information in either way. Um, Either we believe it or we don't. And then another information will come and it will impact us in a different way. So we're being drawn left to right, and we're, we're being pushed left to right. It's a push and pull, and we're not even aware. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. Someone's tapping our knee, and we're just like doing a reflex action. You see, it's not. Um, it's it's not being looked at because we look at the experts in their field as experts. We don't question them. Even little things like, if they studied this group of people, does that speak for the whole human race? Or does that just speak for those people? Because, hey, um, little things like that. And, in journals, scientific journals, this is what I see most of the time. It may prevent, it can be this, but you cannot see a lot of this is exactly what is going on, and this is this, and that is that. No, it's always like it may prevent heart attack. It can be the source of cancer. I mean, so here we are, when we hear the word cancer, we're not seeing that they're not really sure of what they're talking about. We're not seeing that the word cancer impulses our definition of it. So it's a word problem. Health is a word problem. It is a vocabulary problem. Visit my website, www.junroca.com, and you will see tools that you can use. And we're going to do a sequel on this so that we can explain why even our own reaction to food and is part of it's a vocabulary problem. Vocabulary? What's got to do with that? Be part of our next video, because we'll talk a little bit about that, and then if you can write your name, put your email address, and we'll include you in our newsletter so you can have an update every month or so of whatever we're talking about. So genetic mutation, we are scared of Monsanto, genetic modification, but what if reactions and fears can actually genetically modify our genes? And we created Monsanto because that's a consequence outflow of what we're doing. These questions will really open up your eyes. And also, how words are actually part of this whole problem, the health problem. So, this is an interesting twist on the whole sugar equation. And I would like to open this and discuss this with you. Leon, do you have any last statements?
Well, not really. Just want to thank you for having me here. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, let me end this with this rhyme. Sugar is not the enemy. It is us choosing the quantity. So we have to take self-responsibility. and embrace the sugar cane plant as food, or the sugar beet plant as food, and other sweeteners that we cannot abuse. It is here in this world as our equals, so use it in moderation. Release the emotions and reactions, realizing the body has to be free. For it is an organism that we can embrace in unison. Good night, everyone. Or good morning. It's 12:30 or 1:30 a.m. here in Dallas. And be with us again. We are going to talk more about health, education, health, everything about health, food. We're going to talk about health therapies. We are going to embrace everything about health. And we're inviting you to do that. I am inviting you. And invite your friends, share the videos. Bye for now. See you soon.